my name is Karen and I'm with the Jefferson County 4-H office, and what we're here to do today is show you how to make a hamburger hash. It's a real yummy recipe. The first thing I want to tell you to do before you start cooking is make sure you wash your hands. You want to have nice clean hands when we're working with food. Make sure you don't have any jewelry on because excuse me, germs love to live in your jewelry. Then you also want to make sure that your hair is pulled back if you have long hair, so that way you don't have any hair get into your food. Okay? So what I want to tell you right now is what ingredients you will need for your hamburger hash. You will need a pound of hamburger, and what I have here is an 80-20. Then you will need a bag of Mexican style cheese. This is an optional ingredient, but I love cheese, so of course I'm going to have cheese in mine. We also need a package of taco seasoning here. You need probably a couple of potatoes and then a small onion. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we are going to put everything in our electric skillet. If you're just working with a stove at home, then you'll just use a regular frying pan. But here today we are actually using an electric skillet. Okay. You will need a cup here, and then I have my potatoes already sliced up, but then I'll show you how to do that also. And I have in a bowl of water because water helps them from turning brown. Okay, you will need a cup because it does call for 2 cups of potatoes. Then we have an onion, and I've already chopped some up, but I'm also going to show you how the correct way of chopping up an onion. Okay, you will need a spatula, so that way that helps you when you're browning your hamburger meat in your skillet here. And then if you have this at home, that's fine. If you don't, you can just use a paring knife to cut your potato. I happen to have a mandolin. This is called a mandolin here, which makes perfect slices for your potatoes, or if you're slicing an apple, whatever you're going to use it for, it works great. But if you don't have one, that's totally fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start off and we're going to put our hamburger meat in the skillet. And I'm going to, this is an electric skillet here, and I'm going to start it out on probably 300, and then we'll adjust it if need be. Okay? So we're just going to open up our package of hamburger. Okay, then what you want to do is you just want to take your hamburger meat and you want to just like crumble it up in your pan. And if you've never tried this recipe, this is really yummy, and your kids will love it. And I don't know if y'all can hear that good searing of this hamburger meat going on here. I already have my onions chopped up, so I'm going to throw that in now, but then I'll also show you how the correct way to chop up an onion. Okay, so we're going to use about a half an onion in here. And I don't know about you all, but I love the smell of hamburger and onions cooking together. It just smells so yummy. So we're just going to let this cook here until our hamburger turns brown. That's how we know it's done. And like I said, I put my temperature on. It's on about 300. I don't want it to cook too fast, but then I don't want it to cook too slow either. So we're going to let that brown. You just want to make sure you turn it a few, make sure you get all the red pieces turned over so that also gets brown. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you, this is my other half an onion that we're not actually going to use today, but I'll show you the correct way to chop up an onion. You want to make sure that outer layer is off of your onion. And I'm going to turn around just real quick just to rinse it off, because I always love to rinse off my fruits and vegetables. Okay, so I'm going to show you the correct way to chop an onion. You always want to make sure that you have your hand in the claw position, okay? And then I'm just going to take my knife here, and I'm going to go down and make slices all through the onion here. Okay, then you're going to turn it this way, and then you can just start slicing. And that's automatically going to make your dices for you. Makes it easier when you're working with an onion. Make sure you keep that hand in that claw position. You don't want to cut your fingers. And then if you notice, it just falls apart after you do that. Okay? Alright, we're going to come back over to our hamburger meat now. This is smelling yummy. We really didn't need to use the whole onion, because then that would have been just kind of way too much onion for this dish. Our hamburger is getting brown. Okay, so this recipe also calls for potatoes. So I'm going to also, I already have my potatoes already sliced up that we're going to use in this dish. But I also want to show you how this mandolin actually works, okay? So you have this is kind of like a guard here. You would put your potato on here. Okay, then this mandolin actually has an adjustment, so you can adjust so you'll know how thick the slice is that you want or how thin the slice. Okay, so our slice that we're going to be working with today is, I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of thin. It's not too thin, but it's thin. Okay, I love this little machine. So you would just put your potato inside your cover here. Okay, then you're just going to take it, and you're going to take your potato and you're going to do motion right through that blade, and it's going to cut your potato for you. This makes it so easy. And then I'm going to move this, and you can actually see the slices. See how easy that is to do? And like I said, you can adjust this to where you can make thick slices, thin slices. You can do julienne, however you want. Whatever type of slice you want. Our hamburger's almost getting done. I don't see very much red in here. So we're almost at the point where we can add our potatoes and our water. I just see a few little red pieces, and we don't want that. Smelling really good in here. And your kids will love this dish. If you want to try this at home, by all means, it's very yummy. Okay, this is looking really good. Everything is looking brown. You want to make sure everything is cooked good, because then you will fall into your food safety. We don't want anybody getting sick because of your hamburger meat not being cooked all the way through. Okay, that looks absolutely perfect. I don't see any red whatsoever. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, I had my potatoes actually sitting in water so they wouldn't turn brown. So I'm just going to scooch back over here and dump out my water real quick. Okay, so then it calls for about 2 cups, so I'm just going to show you how to just measure about 2 cups of potatoes. This is a cup here. Okay, so we're going to put that in. Make sure you pull them apart, because sometimes they tend to stick together there. Okay. And that's about another cup. Okay, so we're going to put this in here, and we're going to pull them apart, because like I said, they are sticking together there. Now the thicker your potato is in this dish, the longer it will actually take to cook. So that's why I wanted to go with the smaller slice on this. We're gonna add our water. That was 3/4 of a cup of water. Okay. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our package of taco seasoning. And sometimes if you notice you'll have little clumps in here, just push your fingers together and that breaks up the little clumps. Makes it easier. We're going to sprinkle this on there. And then what I want you to do is I want you to stir it all together really good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let it simmer, and I'm going to put my lid on here and we're going to let it simmer for a little bit. And your seasoning will tend to want to stick to your potatoes, so just make sure you get that off. Turn your potatoes over. You might have to scrape it off your potatoes a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my potatoes are spread out a little bit so that way they can cook kind of evenly here. And then I'm going to stick my lid on and let that simmer for just a little bit. I'm back. It smells delicious in here. So I've checked on this. We're ready to add our cheese. So we are going to open up our cheese, and I'm probably going to use about half of the bag on this. Okay. We're going to take our lid off. Oh, that smells so good. It looks so good, you all. Okay, so we're going to sprinkle about half the bag on here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid back on. Okay. And then let the cheese kind of melt in. Okay, that's about half a bag. And then I'm going to put the lid back on. Turn the heat down just a little bit because we don't want it to we just want it to be warm enough to where we can melt our cheese on there. Put the lid back on. And it'll probably take about a minute or two for the cheese to melt into the potatoes and our hamburger meat, and it's just going to be so yummy. And kiddos, you're going to love this dish at home. I can't wait for you to try it out with your parents. I can hear it sizzling in there. It's smelling good. Ladies, do you think it smells good? Mm-hmm. Smells good? All right. We're going to leave it on there probably about another minute. My lid is steaming up, so it's kind of hard for me to see if it's melted, but that's okay. Ooh, it's melted. It is ready to go. Okay, so we're going to come over here and make sure you turn your skillet off. Be very careful because your skillet's going to be hot. We don't want you to burn yourself. And then, I don't know, I'm going to try to do this for you. Let's see if we can actually show you right there what it's going to look like. And then we're going to scoop some out on a plate. Oh my goodness, this looks so yummy. And you can see the cheese is good and melted. All right, here we go. This is our finished product. I hope you enjoy it at home. If you try this at home, please enjoy. Thank you. Also, check out your library for any cookbooks or recipes that they will have for you to check out and try. Okay? Thank you.